I just did this segment talking about why I don't think universal healthcare is going to work out in this country. And I got another point to make on that one. And it's this story here from the Daily Mail. The YouTuber documenting her bid to kill herself, mentally ill French woman, 23, with 40 different personalities, fights to be euthanized in Belgium. But doctors say they are not suicide dispensers. Okay, well, I guess technically it's an argument against. It's an argument for, like, the doctors aren't going to kill her. They're not going to let her. But here's the point. There are a lot of people who don't want health care. They want death care. We're seeing it in Canada, medical assistance in dying. We're seeing it in Belgium, where there was this big story about a otherwise healthy young woman who they killed because she was suffering from mental anguish. So I'm not about to have my work, my name, put into a system that marches people to their death. That's just me. It's a weird thing to think about, too. It's like the left says, oh, the right-wing grifters, or Tim Pool's a grifter. And I'm like, I thought about that. Not wanting people to be killed by the state is a weird thing to grift on. Because is there an alternative to that? Is there like some left-wing grifter who is like, well, honestly, I believe that the state should be? I guess there is. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Is it not just the natural state of living things to be like, you should live? All right, I guess. Look, we kill cows and, bison or whatever. Bison burger's pretty good, actually. A good bison burger. Wagyu beef, that's the good stuff. I don't know if the Wagyu burgers actually matter, because if you're grinding it up and cooking the fat out of it anyway, you want a good fatty steak, Wagyu's great. Yeah, we kill things and we eat them. But we try to keep, us alive. And now we're in this future where we've decided to not, I don't know, is it a culling? Is that what it is? I'll put it this way. I don't think that we are above the natural order of the planet in that, and there's too many deer. Yeah, there's problems. Huge craps all over my lawn. The plants are dying, things like that. And people are telling me, you got to kill the deer. You kill them, eat them. Otherwise, they get diseased, they starve, they fight, because they're supposed to be natural predators killing them. And so the argument then is that humans are experiencing the same thing. But I guess the problem with that is, while I don't think humans are above the natural laws, the difference is that humans are smart. We're not deer. When the deer craps all over the place and then eats all their food and they start freaking out, humans invent and change their environment. We are not trapped within the confines of the ecosystem necessarily. I think we are to a great degree. We can't keep extracting and then, I think eventually we can cause ecological collapse. But I also wonder, can humans develop their way out of any problem? It was a Black Mirror, I think. All the bees are dead because of colony collapse disorder. So we make robo-bees. And those robo-bees go and pollinate all the crops. I mean, the robo-bees then turned on everybody and started killing them. That's besides the point. I mean, that won't happen, right? And besides, bees sting you anyway. So, anyway, here's the story, which, makes me feel like we shouldn't be funding the state to engage in things like this. They say the French 23-year-old who goes by the name Olympe, recently told the 255,000 followers of her mental health channel that she was in contact with doctors in Belgium where assisted suicide is legal. The content creator suffers from dissociative identity disorder, a condition formed by trauma which is often deeply distressing to those it affects. But Belgian doctor Yves Delort, approached by Olympe, says clinics were not euthanasia dispensers and that the process can last many months or years before someone can access assisted suicide services. This follows the controversial death of another 23-year-old suffering with mental health issues who chose to end her life in Belgium last year. So she's very much wanting to no longer be alive. She reportedly lives with about 40 distinct personalities. Initially said in a post on Instagram, in the last quarter of 2023, I will have recourse to assisted suicide in Belgium. I'm already in contact with the doctors. She added, it's not a debate, it's my life. It's a decision that I made, which was difficult to take. Olympe said that she could no longer manage the burden of her condition or its causes. She said that these included sexual abuse and moving between various foster homes. But the Brussels doctor De Locht, who was reportedly approached by Olympe, is it Olympe? Let's just say that, Olympe, dismissed the claims that talks had progressed in an interview with Le Parisien. He said that the process could take months or years and said that Belgium was tired of being colored as a death ward for France, where assisted suicide is illegal. I haven't seen her medical dossier, but I've read her emails. She wants to meet me. I'm going to pause right here and just say, ladies and gentlemen, hear me out. What if it's actually not Olympe who wants assisted suicide? What if it's one of her personalities? You know, if she's got 40 in there, what if they're all happy-go-lucky except for one who's really evil, who took control and said, now it's nah. Well, what I mean to say is, if you're not well, you cannot consent to killing yourself. The idea of assisted suicide, in my mind, it's supposed to be like the doctor goes to you and says, you have 2 months left to live because of the gigantic cancer in your lungs. It will be excruciatingly painful as you hack up blood. There's nothing anyone can do for you, and you'll be bedridden the whole time. That's what I thought it was supposed to be. Even then, I don't know if I agree with it, because you'll end up with procedural suicides that aren't warranted. Meaning, man, it's tough. I don't want anybody to suffer. You see an animal lying on the road and it's injured, you're like, gotta put it out of its misery. Would you do that for another person? Some people would. You hear these stories in war. Some guys slowly dying with massive gut trauma from, rifle fire, and they're like, you're mutilated, there's no saving you. It's tough, isn't it? To take the life of a person. The issue I take with this is that you'll end up with someone who will say, I do believe X, Y, and Z, therefore I should be euthanized or whatever. And then the doctor will be like, well, they're lying, but why not? Wink. Why open the door in any way for people to end their own lives instead of just helping them navigate the actual problems? He was going to say, we didn't refuse to meet people like her, but we explained to them that the process can last months or even years. This young woman has announced the end of her life at the end of the year. The date certainly doesn't come for me. I need much more information before envisaging meeting her. Seriously? You would entertain meeting with someone for the discussion of killing them? She's otherwise healthy. She's got, here's what they say, dissociative identity disorder, known as multiple personality disorder, is a condition resulting in the presence of two or more distinct and relatively enduring personalities in the sufferer. The condition is seen among the general population around 1.5%. It's the result of repeated long-term childhood trauma. 90% of those with DID have a history of abuse and neglect. The condition develops in early childhood before the brain can develop a single integrated identity. Treatment ordinarily involves the treatment of symptoms, palliative therapy, and psychotherapy without medical treatment. It is rare the condition abates on its own. Diagnoses of the disorder have increased dramatically in recent years, in part due to the development of more diagnostic tests in the field of psychology and new techniques to image brain tissue. The condition is often deeply distressing for its sufferers. More than 70% of people with the condition attempt suicide once, at least once. And it's sad, man. I want you to live. I want you to be healthy. How do you deal with something like this? What is like 40 personalities? Does she like black out like in the TV shows and then come to and she's like robbing a bank or something? I don't know, man. They go on to mention assisted suicide is illegal across most of Europe. Switzerland permits assisted suicide. Active euthanasia is not legal. While illegal in France, a Citizens' Council has begun debating the country's approach to end-of-life care generally and the legal status of assisted suicide. Recommendations will be presented to Parliament in March of this year. I just think it's murder. And it's tough because, like I said, someone might be like 80 years old and just, paralyzed and dying, like just make it stop the pain. And then it's tough. It's like, what do you do, man? Do you force them to suffer? But the problem here is you've got these young people. Look, man, we want them to live. But there's a lot of ways to harm yourself. And I hope nobody does. And if you're worried about it, you're thinking about it, you call somebody immediately, right? But I don't know. We can certainly stop the assistance of it. But people are going to do it anyway. But that's no excuse to run these facilities. It's interesting because there's similarities in the abortion argument. Pro-lifers will say, we get, the leftists say, we're going to go back to the coat hanger. And then the conservatives are like, yes, right, we get that. We are just not going to make it legal for a doctor to assist you because it's killing the baby. Why would we want this? We're heading in this direction. where people are going to start taking their own lives, and we don't want them to. How do you navigate it, man? There's this creepy ideology of population reduction, and they are more than happy to entertain people ending themselves, either through gluttony, physical destruction, or this. Sad story, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.